The night started like any other for Claire Bennett. The air outside was thick with the damp chill of early autumn, the kind that clung to your skin and whispered of coming winter. Streetlights buzzed faintly, their orange glow cutting through the mist that curled along the sidewalk. Somewhere in the distance, a car alarm warbled, then died. Claire pulled her jacket tighter around her shoulders as she stepped into the dim warmth of the hollow lantern, the kind of bar that existed in that perfect middle ground. Not too divey, not too pretentious, just a place to unwind after another long week at the marketing firm where she spent her days drowning in spreadsheets and coffee. She took her usual seat at the far end of the bar, where the light was just dim enough to make her feel anonymous. The bartender, a burly guy named Rick with a tattoo of a ship's wheel on his forearm, nodded at her as she settled in. "Usual?" he asked. Claire smiled. "Please." The first sip of her gin and tonic was crisp, cold, perfect. She let herself exhale, scrolling mindlessly through her phone, half listening to the murmur of conversations around her, the laughter of a group at the pool table, the low hum of some indie song playing just a little too quietly over the speakers. That's when she felt it, the weight of eyes on her. She glanced up and there he was. A man, mid-30s maybe, dark hair, slightly too long, curling at the ends, a sharp jawline, a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. He was leaning against the bar a few stools down, watching her with an intensity that made her fingers tighten around her glass. Claire looked away, but a moment later, the stool beside her creaked as he sat down. "You come here often?" His voice was smooth, practiced, the kind of voice that had asked this question before. Claire forced a polite smile. "Sometimes." "I've seen you before," he said, swirling the ice in his whiskey glass. "Claire, right?" Her stomach dropped. She didn't recognize him. Not at all. "Do we know each other?" she asked carefully. He chuckled low and easy. No, just good with names. Heard the bartender say it." A lie. Rick hadn't said her name tonight. Claire took another sip of her drink, her pulse ticking up just a little. "I'm Daniel," he said, extending a hand. She didn't take it. "I'm just here to relax," she said, her voice firmer now, alone. Daniel's smile didn't waver. If anything, it sharpened. "Come on," he said, leaning in slightly. "One drink, just conversation." "No, thank you." The words were clear, final. But Daniel didn't move. His gaze lingered on her face a beat too long before he finally leaned back, raising his hands in mock surrender. All right, no pressure." But the way he said it, like it was a game, like her no was just part of some script he knew how to navigate, made her skin prickle. Claire finished her drink quickly after that, avoiding his eyes, the weight of his stare burning into her like a brand. She paid in cash, leaving a generous tip for Rick, and slid off the stool. She didn't look back as she pushed through the door into the night. But she felt it. The shift in the air, the certainty deep in her bones that she wasn't alone. The walk home was only 10 minutes. Claire told herself she was being paranoid, that the man Daniel was just another guy who didn't know how to take a hint, that the chill running down her spine was just the autumn wind. But then she heard it. Footsteps, matching her pace. She slowed, they slowed. She sped up, so did they. Claire's breath hitched. She dared a glance over her shoulder. The street was empty. Just your imagination, she told herself. Just the echo of your own steps. But then, a shadow, movement in the corner of her eye, slipping behind a parked car. Her heart hammered. She fumbled for her phone, thumb hovering over 911. But what would she say? I think someone's following me. She had no proof, no real threat, just a feeling. Claire picked up her pace, her apartment building now in sight, just a little farther. The lobby was blessedly warm, the fluorescent lights humming overhead as she swiped her key fob and hurried inside. She jabbed the elevator button, glancing back at the glass doors. No one. The elevator dinged. She stepped in, pressing the button for the 4th floor, her pulse still racing. The doors began to close. Then a hand shot out, stopping them. Claire's breath caught in her throat. A man stepped inside, not Daniel, just her neighbor, Mr. Perkins, an elderly man with a cane who always smelled like peppermints. "Evening, Claire," he said with a kind smile. She nearly sobbed in relief. The rest of the night passed in uneasy quiet. Claire double-locked her door, checked the windows, peered through the peephole into the empty hallway. Nothing. She told herself she was overreacting. But then, a knock. Saw almost hesitant. Claire froze. Another knock. She crept toward the door, standing on her toes to peer through the peephole. The hallway was empty. Then, a whisper. "Claire." Her blood turned to ice. It was him, Daniel. She didn't know how he'd found her. Didn't know how long he'd been standing there. But she knew one thing with absolute certainty. He wasn't leaving. Claire's breath stopped in her chest. The whisper had been so quiet, so intimate, like Daniel's lips were pressed against the door, like he already knew she was there on the other side, trembling. "Claire!" Again, she stumbled back, her socked feet silent on the hardwood. Her hands shook as she fumbled for her phone. 911, call 911. But what if she was wrong? What if she was just paranoid, and she called the cops on some innocent guy who happened to say her name? Then, creak. The doorknob twisted, just slightly testing. The deadbolt held. Claire's pulse roared in her ears. She dialed 911. The operator's voice was calm. "What's your emergency?" There's a man at my door," Claire whispered, her voice cracking. "He followed me home from a bar. He won't leave." "What's your address?" She rattled it off, her eyes locked on the door. Then, silent. No more knocks, no whispers. Had he left? Claire crept forward, pressing her ear against the wood. Nothing. She risked a glance through the peephole. Empty hallway. "Ma'am," the operator said, "are you still there?" "He's gone," Claire breathed. "I think he's gone." But the relief was short-lived, because then she heard it. A click from the bedroom window. The apartment was on the 4th floor. No one could climb that high. No one. But the sound came again, metal on metal, like someone was prying at the latch. Claire's stomach dropped. The fire escape. She'd never used it, never even thought about it. But now, with sickening clarity, she realized it was a way in. "He's at my window," she hissed into the phone. "Oh God, he's trying to get in." "Police are on their way," the operator said. "Stay on the line." Claire didn't answer. She was already moving. Her bedroom door was slightly ajar. Through the crack, she could see the window, the curtains fluttering. Not from the wind, from movement. Someone was out there. She backed away, her breath coming in sharp, silent gasps. The bathroom. It was the only room with a lock. She slipped inside, shutting the door as quietly as possible, twisting the bolt. Then she crouched in the tub, phone clutched in her hands, listening. For a long moment, nothing. Then, thud, the window sliding open. Footsteps. In her bedroom. Claire bit down on her fist to keep from screaming. The footsteps paused, then moved closer. Daniel's voice soft, almost amused. "Claire, where are you?" The bathroom doorknob twisted. Claire's entire body locked in pure electric terror. The bolt held, for now. Then, a knock. Light, almost playful. "Claire." Daniel sang her name like it was a joke, only he understood. "You can't stay in there forever." Her phone screen lit up, the 911 operator's voice barely audible. "Ma'am, are you still there? Police are 2 minutes out." Claire didn't dare answer. Daniel would hear her. She muted the call instead, her fingers slick with sweat. A thump against the door, his shoulder, his fist. "Come on," he sighed, like she was being difficult. "You invited me in." She hadn't, she'd never. Another thud, harder this time, the door frame shuddered. Claire scanned the bathroom desperately. No windows, no weapons except a rusted razor blade left by the last tenant. She grabbed it, the metal biting into her palm. Then, a crack, wood splintering. The door burst open. Daniel stood there, silhouetted in the dim light, his face half-shadowed. He was smiling. Claire lunged. The razor blade slashed across his forearm. He hissed, more surprised than hurt, and backhanded her across the face. Pain exploded behind her eyes. She crumpled against the tub, tasting blood. Daniel crouched over her, gripping her hair. "You're gonna regret that," he whispered. Then, sirens. Close. Daniel's head snapped up, his grip loosened, just for a second. Claire moved. She kneed him between the legs, hard. He gagged, doubling over, and she scrambled past him, slipping in her socks, crashing into the hallway. The front door was still locked. She fumbled with the chain. A hand grabbed her ankle, yanked. Claire screamed, kicking wildly, her nails clawing at the carpet as Daniel dragged her back. No. His breath was hot on her neck. Then, pounding on the front door, "Police, open up!" Claire screamed again, raw, guttural, and his grip faltered. He shoved her away, bolting for the bedroom. The cops kicked the door in, just as Claire heard the scrape of the fire escape. But Daniel was gone. They never caught him. No fingerprints, no DNA, just a shadow in the night. Claire moved, changed her name, sleeps with a knife under her pillow. But sometimes when the phone rings at 2 a.m., no one's there. And sometimes when she walks past a bar, she swears she sees him, smiling, waiting, because men like Daniel, they never leave. If you enjoyed this chilling tale of survival, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another story to keep you up at night. Remember, trust your instincts, stay aware, and always lock your doors. Until next time, sleep with one eye open.